Hi there again everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to continue discussing about naming and writing chemical formulas of compounds, but this time we're going to pay attention to those compounds which are combinations of our cations with more than one charge and our polyatomic ions. So I know you've heard maybe somewhere else the cuprous and the cupric, the ferrous and the ferric, and all other cations with more than one charge. So in order for you to get familiarized with their different charges, so make sure you have yourself provided with a list of these common cations with more than one charge. So how are they being named, or how are they named? Or why are they named as such? We are actually using two systems or two processes. That is classical system, wherein we are using the OUS and the IC ending depending on their charge. And we have also the stock system, wherein we're going to make use of Roman numerals depending on their charge as well. So let's try, for example, this copper, our copper 1 positive and copper 2 positive. So the classical system permits us to name cations with more than one charge, which will end in OUS if it is of lower charge. So when it comes to copper 1 positive and 2 positive, 1 positive is of lower charge. So it should end with OUS. So this time we're going to pay attention with the Latin name of copper, which is cuprum. So you have to change the ending into OUS. So for example, you can write it as our cuprous. So 1 positive is named as cuprous in the classical system. How about 2 positive? So the IC ending is for higher charge. So between the 2 positive is of higher charge. So you can name this one with an ending in IC. So still use the Latin name, but this time we can name this one as cupric, ending in IC, because again it is of higher charge. If it is of lower charge, then make use of the ending OUS. So how are you going to name them using the stock system? Very easy. Make use of its common name, which is copper, and then what is the charge used? That's 1. So make sure you're going to make use of Roman numeral 1 enclosed in parentheses. So that's copper 1 for copper 1 positive. How about this one? So make use again of the common name, that is copper, and then charge is 2 positive, so represent it with Roman numeral 2 enclosed in parentheses, or your copper 2. How about this one? Fe2 plus and Fe3 plus. This is iron. Latin name is ferrum. Again, ending OUS will be used if it is of lower charge. So between these two, 2 positive is the lower charge, the one which is lower compared to 3 plus. So you can name this one with an ending in OUS using the Latin name ferrum, but make sure it will end with OUS. So ferrous. How about this one? Higher charge, so it should end with IC. So again, Latin name is ferrum, but it should end in IC. So we can name that one as ferric. Stock system. Common name is iron. What's the charge again? 2 plus. So enclose the Roman numeral in parentheses, Roman numeral 2 in parentheses, because this is 2 plus. Make use of Roman numeral 2. How about this one? Common name is iron. What's the charge again? 3 plus, represented with our Roman numeral 3 enclosed in parentheses. Now let's try to have mercury. So not all the time we are actually making use of our Latin name like the cuprum and the ferrum. So this time we're going to make use of the common name only, but it should end with OUS and IC in the classical system, and same using Roman numeral in our charge in the stock system. So what do you have here? Hd2 2 plus, because mercury 1 ion are always bound together to form Hd2, but actually the charge is 1 positive. Okay, so let's try to have this one. So use common name, but this is a lower charge, so you're going to name this as your mercurous. So its ending is OUS. Okay, so you might be wondering, why is it they are of 2 positive, 2 positive? This is only mercury 2. So mercury 2 is not actually bound together forming Hg2. It's only applicable for your mercury 1 ion. So this is of higher charge, so the ending is IC. So we can write that one as our mercuric. How about stock system? Common name still is mercury, and charge is 1 positive, so that is mercury 1 in closing parenthesis. This one is Hg2 plus, so again mercury charge is 2 plus, so in closing parenthesis Roman numeral 2. Now what if, for example, you're given the name of the compound and all you're going to do is to write the chemical formula? So let's try copper 1 phosphate. So phosphate and sulfate are two of our common polyatomic ions, like the phosphide, the sulfate, and the sulfide. So make sure again to get yourself a list of our common polyatomic ions so that you would know what charge to use when you're already writing chemical formulas of compounds consisting of these polyatomic ions. So let's try it again. Copper 1 phosphate. So copper 1 is written copper 1 positive, or simply written as writing it as Cu plus, and then you have phosphate, it's written as our PO4. The charge is 3 negative, so crossing over will give you Cu3, and then you copy the PO4 and then you give the 1. So you don't need to enclose this in parentheses anymore because the coefficient that you're going to, the subscript that you're going to use from the copper is still 1. So no need to enclose in parentheses. Or copper 1 phosphate is written as Cu3 PO4 simply. Let's try to have another one, ferric sulfate. How would you write ferric again? That is Fe3 plus. So how would you write sulfate? That's SO4, 2 negative. You cross it over, then you can form Fe2, and then you copy the SO4. Since this exists as 1, enclose it in parentheses. Why do you need to enclose it in parentheses? So that you can give the 3. So the 3 is applicable to all the ions written within the parentheses. The 3 should not be distributed anymore to your ion because it is not part or within the parentheses. So it's only for those elements within the or written within the parentheses. Okay? So what if you have ferrous sulfide? So how would you write the chemical formula for ferrous sulfide? You know that iron has 2 charges, 2 positive and 3 positive. OUS is for lower charge, which is 2 positive. So you can write that as Fe2 plus. For the crossing over, sulfide is written as SO3. Charge is 2 negative. So crossing over will give you Fe2. Then copy the SO3, and then you give the 2, enclose this in parentheses, and write 2. Since these are both 2, you can actually reduce this to lowest term, and immediately writing it as FeSO3 with no other subscript, since you have reduced them into the lowest term. So let's try, for example, tin 4 carbonate. So tin is written as Sn from the Latin name stannum. That is, the charge is 4 positive. You have carbonate. Carbonate is written as CO3 negative. CO3 charge is 2 negative. So when you cross over, you can write this one as Sn and then 2. Copy the CO3 and then give the 4, enclose this into parentheses, enclose this in parentheses and write the 4. Reduce this to lowest term by dividing both with 2. Then you can have SnCO3 enclose and 2. So this is our tin carbonate. So what if, for example, chemical formula is given? How would you name them using both classical system and stock system? So very easy. So you know that in the crossing over, the charge of this one is -1. So when you cross over, the -1 actually has been given to your iron. So this is from your iron. Okay? So your Fe is 2 plus, knowing that you have ClO3 as -1, or the charge of ClO3 or your chlorate is 1 negative. So the charge that you have used for this cation is 2 plus. So name it using the classical system. You can write ferrous. This is chlorate. So ferrous chlorate. How about you name it using the stock system? So that is immediately writing the common name. Iron 2, the charge is 2 plus. So that is Roman numeral 2. And then you have chlorate. Okay, so how about this one? So you know that ClO2 or your chloride has a -1 or 1 negative charge. This is iron. So where did this 3 come from? That is from your iron. So that is 3 plus. So that means the charge that you've used for this iron is 3 plus. So name it using classical. that is named as your ferric. This is chloride. So our substance or our compound is ferric chloride. So how about using the stock system? This is iron. What's the charge used again? That's 3, represented by Roman numeral 3 in closing parenthesis, and chloride. Okay, so how about this one? So you know that hydroxide has a -1 or 1 negative charge. This is lead or your plumbum. So where did this two come from? This is from your lead. So that means the charge used by the lead is 2 positive. So lower charge, since another lead is 4 positive, so you can actually name that one as, using the Latin name, that is plumbus. Plumbus, this is hydroxide. So plumbus hydroxide. Name this compound using the stock system. That is lead. What's the charge used? 2 positive. So represented by Roman numeral 2 in closing parenthesis, hydroxide. Okay, so that's all for today, folks. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, it's time for you to subscribe for more common chemistry concept videos. Bye!